GM.
Define GM this morning. Actually, that doesn't make sense. But
A fine good morning. Yeah, assuming that's a GM. That's what GM stands for, right, guys?
Yeah.
After all this
GM.
time.
Define GM.
Yeah, I like it.
how's your guys' week this week?
Pretty good. Very productive.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh yeah, a little bit of shuffling happened around, as you guys know. New Year's Day, my place flooded on New Year's Day. I was going to get my coffee, and then
That's
I looked
right.
downstairs, and there's just water coming down everywhere. So I've been shuffling around. I'm actually back in my old place. They've torn down some of the walls and the floors and stuff. They're doing a mini kind of reno while we're still living here. So I hope, well, these calls are actually early enough that there's nobody in the house. But I was like, man,
Yeah.
like live streaming with like a hammer banging on the wall is not going to be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun. Taking calls with especially neighbors doing construction. Always fun.
Yeah. But no, it's been otherwise it's been a great week. We had a lot of snow here. It dumped a lot of snow, and so had a pretty good snow day. Built some snowmen, snowball fights, hot chocolate, all that good stuff.
That sounds like the dream, man.
Do you guys get snow on your side of the planet?
My wife has legit never seen snow because it's never snowed where she's from in South China. But we did see snow she saw snow for the first time ever when we went to Switzerland last year. We were really lucky. It was like the first snow of the year on top of like a really high mountain. And so she was lucky to finally see it.
Yeah, that sounds like high quality snow. So she
Mhm.
got the best of the best.
Oh yeah, we were like eating it off the ground, off the tables and stuff.
Yeah, if you're gonna have snow for the first time in your
Oh
life,
man, it was
do it
yummy.
in Switzerland.
Yeah, on top of like this freaking mountain, so good.
Yeah,
But
we had
there is snow in
uh,
China, but it's not where we are.
ah. Yeah, we've been having snow in Nashville, but it's not fun because the city cannot handle it. First, it was like snow, and then like 5 days of below freezing temperatures, and then we had some like freezing rain, which is like the electricity might go out. But I think it's supposed to hit 60 degrees on Monday, which is I'm sure gonna make me sick. But yeah, a little snow, but just kind of nasty.
Look at Thrax joined the stage here with a new avatar. I see some nice new Forge wearables there
Whoa.
especially that big smile.
Yeah.
GM.
Looking
I'm finally
scary.
in the Fangs Club, man.
Hell
Been a
yeah,
long time.
Win
This
Fangs
is
Guild, bro.
we need a Fangs Guild. That's like got to be a thing.
Round them up.
Dude, that wearable is so good.
I feel like
I
that
think
could
it's
be
my
a
favorite
set.
wearable. Mm.
The Citadel Ghoul set right there.
The Rogue Knight.
The Demon
I don't-
Knight.
The
Yeah.
Demon
I
Knight.
honestly, dude, anything you put these teeth on, it becomes the demon, whatever the set is. Like, it's awesome.
The Demon Geisha would be pretty dope. Like the Succubus would be pretty dope.
Yes.
Cool idea for a set. I think I was actually looking at that for a potential set, but didn't know what traits to give it.
I think any set you put that on, it's gonna 10x in scariness, like spookiness through the roof. To me, it's in your case, Thrax, the combo with the water jug is extremely disconcerting. That is very scary.
Is it really the jug?
That's
It's not the
water
sword
jug.
or the. Okay.
No, not the sword, the mohawk, the body armor. That jug is like messing with me. I'm like, what's going on?
Like,
there?
why does he have a jug? I don't understand. I'm confused.
Yeah, what's in it? It's like throwing me off.
He needs the water to wash down the gotchis he's been eating with that mouth.
Maybe that's it.
Everyone's assuming it's water, guys. It's not water.
Yeah.
It drinks gasoline.
It's blue.
Yeah, for this set, that makes more sense. Pure gasoline.
Or vodka. Nice clear liquor.
Well, cool, guys. I'm sure it's been a nice kickoff to the weekend in terms of like Gotchi coverage. Randomly saw, you know, Bankless featuring us and highlighting the Gotchi Battler. The
Yeah, man, that
registration
was
for that, is
very
that
cool.
closed? Anybody listening in still have a chance to hop into the tournament?
I
I
still
think
have to
it's
hop in.
22nd. We got 2 more days till
Yeah.
registration, I think.
All right, if you're listening in, you're not part of it. You got 48 hours. I wonder how many teams we've got registered. I mean,
Last time I checked, there was like over 500 teams, I want to say. There was a lot.
really?
There was a lot. Hmm.
Oh,
I believe
that's
top
great.
512 will place and win a reward, correct?
Over 500. Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody registered now, or most registered now, if that's everybody, is going to get something, which is kind of cool.
It says 627 entrants, 3,135 gotchis. Yo, that's wild.
That is wild.
I had no idea. That's great. That's fantastic.
So we'll
I
look.
know what I'm doing tomorrow. Sunday registration.
Yeah, get that in your calendars. I got to get on that too. I think I had a Gotchi rented out, and it's part of a team now. I was gonna go make a team with it, and I'm like, what? So my Gotchi will be playing for someone else's team. One of them, anyway. I got the other ones on. I'll have to get them together.
Right. You're like, oh no, I lent out my best ones and forgot to close it.
Yeah.
Too late.
Well, this is the first tournament. I'm sure there'll be many more. So yeah, we'll be prepared for the next ones.
Right. Guaranteed first of 3 big tournaments, right? Already on the docket and funded. So I think they get bigger as they go too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made the
I see
mistake
this-
of submitting my team, but I left I didn't realize I put a naked gotchi in when I had another fully dressed and much higher BRS gotchi. So my team's going to be a little weaker than I expected, but at least for the next tournament, I know better, and I can dress them a little better this time.
And then the respecs are out too, right? Didn't those come out this week?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to the Forge
So
team for getting
far-
on that and getting it
Yeah,
out
man.
quickly.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I mean, I love the
So
respect.
far.
It's just
Can we
thrown a
respec
wrench
when the
into
team's
everything.
been submitted or no?
No, you can't respec if it's rented.
Well, not rented, but if it's already been submitted to the Battler as a team.
Oh, good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because that might be.
I would
worth-
assume he does a snapshot on the day of, but I don't know.
See a
And
ton of
let's see.
GFA teams coming on for this in the comment section. It says GFA plays the tournament as a guild. And they've got this screenshot there of all the various GFAs. That's pretty awesome.
That's actually a
You guys
smart
have
strategy.
It really is. That's the right way. There need to be more guilds coordinating like that.
So will they, just to the GFA guys, so for your guild, will the rewards be going to the guild treasury, or will the members be just splitting it for, whoever wins? I'm kind of curious to know, because that would be a good guild strategy, actually. Oh, it's a split. Yeah, nice.
Makes a lot of sense. Percent to the chest and then a split.
Oh yeah, Mafia's doing the same thing, it looks like.
Okay. That's
It's
the
like we're a
way.
whale.
Taking advantage of the whitelisting on the lending, right? So you just
Yep.
lend to fellow guild members.
Oh, that's right. Because, if you have, because I think you need 5 gotchis to enter the tournament. So if you have like a remainder of 2 or 3, why not lend them out to your guild mates and complete some teams, right? That's another way to think about it.
Yeah, Al, great point. Wearable renting. We saw the post from Orium the other day, and we are actively reviewing the Orium PR to the Aavegotchi contracts that will basically introduce on-chain wearable renting delegation slash. I don't know. I kind of think of them as like virtual wearables, but it's very big brain stuff. I'm really excited for that PR to come and get reviewed by us, and then finally be deployed with the beautiful UI that they're working on. That's gonna open up a lot of possibilities for gotchis, for all these different games, and it also will bring income to the DAO, which is super cool. Forever, super cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of like renting a godlike just for a day, just so I could feel that power,
Yeah,
you know?
that's gonna make the games so enjoyable. Being able to just like play with your different strategies with different wearables.
That really opens things up for sure, because like I can speak to like my own wearables collection. There's a bunch of wearables that have never been like really touched. They just kind of sit there. So if you can rent them out to others, there'd be less naked gotchis out there in the world.
Speaking of coverage, I did want to drop this for friends who haven't seen it yet. This was actually quite unexpected. We were planning to do a play test with Gaming Chronicles online, like an online play test, and then he reached out. And they're like, we actually need to delay the online play test because we did this like unannounced IRL play test with their guild, Gaming Chronicles, with Gotchi Guardians. And we were like, what? That's insane. So they basically did what we did in France, but on a bigger scale with a lot more computers. It looks like all these players in the Philippines playing Guardians, and we should be getting some feedback from all those players as well on the game. So again, very very useful. It's really cool to see these type of like especially IRL events happening with the different partners that we're working with now.
If you got a quality game cafe and gaming community in your city, your neighborhood, you should be working something out. Reach out. Let's do more of this.
Yeah, I think we eventually like we'll have a model where if you want to host something, that could be potentially something that like the Aavegotchi grants could fund, like little micro proposals like that, like $100 for a gaming event in some country. Like it could have a big impact for a very small amount of money. It would be really nice to see something like that.
And even like social media visibility, like it's really cool to see like large groups getting together around these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in general, I think with Gotchi Guardians, like, I saw some chatter about that in general chat and also in the Gotchi Guardians channel. T-Bird's like ready for updates. I think we'll have some soon, right, Dan? They've been working diligently all through the new year here, and
yeah, let's see if is Slama in the audience here.
I know.
I'm gonna say Slama. Yeah, Slama was off for like the first 10 days, I think, of the year. He was literally moving his life from where he was to a new country. So there was a little bit of delay on that, but now he's back. He's all settled in. Got a nice new comfy chair that he's in. So the shipping is definitely happening, and they're really preparing big for the upcoming ETH Denver event. Like we've basically established at this point, the game is super fun. people really like it. It's easy to pick up, and the only feedback that we really get is like, we need more content. We need more towers. We need more in-game content. We need more maps, which is stuff we all know. And so that's good feedback, and it's the exact things that we're working on. And then the other part is like player retention, having something to work for, which is like a huge part of gamifying things. You got to have some like progression systems. So they're tying into the progression system and achievement system that we're working on for the overall gaming console, and they'll have all that. It's going to be tight, but they're aiming to have all that done by ETH Denver, and we'll be showing that off at ETH Denver. So the shipping might seem a little bit slow in the short term here, but it's really just so they can laser focus, and get those builds done in time for ETH Denver with 3D gotchis, all sorts of cool animations, stickers, just a bunch of stuff. Like they're shipping on all fronts right now. It's just we can't, we're not publishing a new build because it's almost more distracting for them.
Yeah, Salama's been pretty clear. He's like, he doesn't want to introduce it to new audiences yet. There's no sense in spending that social capital, however you put it, right now, because we don't have the long game. We don't have those pieces in place, but we will soon. He's like, fire when ready kind of thing. And just to be clear, he was on break, but I mean, there's a whole team behind him, and they had their marching orders, so they were doing their thing, and when he came back, he seemed pretty pleased, and they're right where they need to be. So maybe, I don't know. Have we talked about the concept for some of the skins that are coming to Guardians? How much have we shared about that? Maybe we could leak something. I know Salama's not here, but he won't be too upset, right?
It'll be fine. I mean, we were just talking about winter, and we are in winter season here. Maybe we got do you have one of the skins handy, Golden Cross? I mean, there's a lot of skins being worked on, because it's really fun content. I know Slama.
Give me a minute. I'll go find it, and then you can talk about. There's a couple different types of skins, right? I'll see what I can grab.
Yeah. Just like it's going to be a really fun game to stream, as we've already kind of seen with Eliza playing like 2.5 hours on it. It's a really fun game to stream, and you also can see what other people are like, what their map looks like. So having some skins is going to be a cool flex, where people are like looking at what your map is, and they're like, oh man, this guy is a baller. He's got all these cool OG skins that I don't have, and it's just, subtle flexes like that might actually help you win the game in a way, because people will be like intimidated by you. But even so, it just looks dope. It looks cool to be different like that. So
yeah, but like when Dan talks about skins for Guardians, like Hefe, and if you're like, where are you imagining the skin literally being applied to? Like, I guess that's the part I'm getting at. Is there's a couple potential answers there.
Oh man, I'd say it's probably just the vanity of the skin, like Coder Dan was saying. I played Counter-Strike for a while, and in CS:GO, like Counter-Strike, they have skins you can purchase that are not even NFTs. And I think last summer a skin went for like over 100K, and it wasn't even an NFT, right? So in the gaming community, skins are coveted. It's like a badge of, it's like a badge almost that you can wear, and people can see, you got the gold skin, or you got the really rare skin. It says a lot about your skill without, it says a lot about your skill before you get murdered, basically. And so, I think it's the vanity of the skin that makes them like valuable and coveted.
And this is for anybody in the chat, though. I mean, like, when we talk specifically about Gotchi Guardians, what is being skinned? Your Gotchi?
Okay.
I could see maybe some of the defense mechanisms that you put up, like maybe your Raffles are rocking a different kind of outfit, or I don't know if the word skin applies, but maybe differences in the map, like you can deploy different looking maps with maybe a different bridge setup kind of look to it.
Okay, I like where your head's at. Yeah, a couple different ways to go about it, I guess, is the point. So I did find them. I'm gonna DM them to you, Dan, and then you decide
Sure.
which one to actually share. We have too many options here.
Yeah, tower defense already kind of blew my mind when I realized that the Gotchi is the tower. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this skin entails.
What's your guys' favorite tower so far?
Oh, I love the classic Raffle Tower. But the second best would probably be the Bull Market. I really enjoy that one.
Mm.
I like the brute force, but just because of the little things about it, like the fact that when the Papa brute force spins around, the little baby one ducks under its arm when it spins. So the animation is just so cute.
It is, yeah. That was a wonderful touch by Slama there. Well, speaking of the brute force, we can show that one. Since I love that one, and the concept for it is just so funny.
Yeah.
So this is Slama has been working on a set, which is like a winter set. So for Prong Meadow, it's obviously kind of set in spring or some sort of green setting. But this skin will be one of the first skins, which is going to introduce kind of a winter setting. So here we go. The Brute Snowman skin.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, and I like how it's set in. I mean, it's just so
This is-
ironic. You got this.
This is
brute
not actually
snowman in
fully
skin.
done yet, by the way.
You can tell it's kind of.
The like the sickles that he's firing are not. They're actually going to be icicles. They're not going to be purple like that.
I was just
But,
gonna say that. I'm like snowballs or icicles, like some snow
Yeah, it's gonna be
themed
icicles.
projectile. Ah, nice.
Yeah. And there is an entire map as well. It's like you'll have map skins and you'll also have tower skins. So if you'll have the entire map covered in snow, and then if you have the specific tower skins, you'll also be able to make your towers look dope. So I'm gonna load the Golden Cross. Maybe you can drop we'll drop one more here, or maybe one, maybe two. The Prong Meadow winter skin.
We're on a roll now. All right, cool. Yeah, let's see Prong Meadow in winter. So if you got this in your inventory, you by all means can hop in and play with it. Oh my god, I clicked the wrong thing. I gotta get back to our chat. 1 second, guys. Ah, what did I do? Weird.
Yeah, I'll
Can you
drop
guys
it.
still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll drop it.
I'm back.
So here we go. This is the Gotchi Guardians. Again, these are still pretty concept, but they are gonna come a long way from where they are exactly right now before ETH Denver. But these are some of the skins that the team is aiming to get into the game and be part of like the progression system for Gotchi Guardians. Just one, initial look. So the map itself won't change in terms of like pathing or anything, but it's just going to look totally different and totally dope.
So no future, you were pretty much spot on.
Right? Yeah.
Nice. Now all I need you to do is implement the raffles when they're being thrown. Instead of them throwing, they ski towards the enemy. That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, there you go.
Whole new animations. Oh boy, here we go. Could do it. Could do it. That would be really funny.
But yeah, the Guardians team is firing on all cylinders right now, and we're about a little bit more than a month away from ETH Denver, so we're not that far away. And so the team is really in crunch time to get all these builds. Literally, our Discord right now, guys, is, you might have seen my tweet the other day. We just find it. It's so funny. Our kind of internal team Discord, where we have a system that we're using for the 3D wearables. You find it here. It's just absolute chaos in here. Chaos in a good way. It's just there's so much happening. Look
Yeah,
at
isn't it
what
great?
this looks like at the moment. This is our
Very
3D
cool.
Gotchis, the channel. Like we have like a 3D Gotchis channel, and so every time when the artists start working on a wearable, they drop it into, they like make a thread, and then we keep the status updated there, and also in like in a Figma. So you can see all APPR means approved. Done means it's like already been added to the Figma, and the animators working on it. WIP is like work in progress, and review is like we're reviewing it and it's close to approved, but not quite there yet. This is just like a part of it. There's a ton of ones that are already done or already approved.
Yeah, because usually once they get done, they kind of get moved down out of the way. But there's the accompanying Figma and all the Jira and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is a good little peek, and probably it's the like Zbot says here, daily to-do list. It's kind of like wake up every day, and kind of the first and last thing to look at each day, and just see that progress.
We're trying to knock out like 4 to 8 wearables at least per day. Because we have to, otherwise we're not going to meet the deadline.
From the ones you shared, like the texturing looks really like on point for like the fabrics, and I'm now curious about some of the other ones you got there, like the uranium rod, the headphones, like the different textures. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, let me check. We can drop 1 or 2 here. Here, let's see. We got this is going to be the legendary. This is the legendary wizard staff.
Ooh, here we go. Portal mages, are you paying attention?
And these are like low poly screenshots. These are not the super high poly close-up stuff. But just to show the completion, our artists are dropping these screenshots into the chat. So they actually look even better than this, like in the actual game. These are pretty low poly. This is the legendary wizard staff.
Yeah, I like it. That's awesome.
Then we got one. Here's a video. This one looks actually quite dope. Let me download the video real quick here. This is the laptop. So like Gbot's like, oh, I know what's coming.
Ooh, yeah.
This is more what it will look like in gaming. This is in Unity, a preview. So
yeah,
I
that
love
laptop
that
looks crispy.
Yeah. Someone said it looked like a Lenovo, something, I don't know. Yeah. Can we see any of the ones that didn't make the cut when it's said and done, the bad ruffles?
Maybe.
Let me see. Generally they come in pretty good. There's just minor tweaks that we got to make.
I love how, like, because we have all the side views for every wearable, there's like the 3D artists have a lot to work with. And I got an example here I'll drop. We'll share one more. I love how Zbot snuck in on the back. I think it was Zbot. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But the back of the fake artists set, the palette. So notice there it has the ART. I think they did a really nice job, like embedding that. And I think you wanted one that's not 100% final approved. Zbot's probably going to say this was the non-final one, but it's the one I got handy. It's pretty darn close. Already looks fantastic in my opinion. Let's take a look.
Whoa,
yeah,
look
there's
at
the
that.
back side.
Nice.
High detailed.
See the wood grains and everything.
Yeah. I love when the 3D ones have like pixely references. So like this one in particular.
Yeah.
There's quite a few like that.
Yeah, call back to the pixel era.
Oh man, they're really coming through now. We got the
Ooh,
Mohawk.
Zbot
One more here, the Mohawk.
Dang.
So happy with that one.
The textures of the hair and everything.
Here's a whip of what they kind of look like before. So this is the artists are working on the hazmat hood right now, and so we found that if the artists confirm the kind of the shape first before modeling the entire thing, then the process just goes faster. So this is one that they did. This is like a material or shape look before they actually start applying like textures and stuff. This is the hazmat hood.
Extra spooky when things are missing.
Yeah.
I saw a raffle earlier this week that didn't have pupils. It was really freaking me out.
That was too. Yeah. Let me find that. That was pretty funny.
That hazmat
It's taken
hood-
us a while to get the raffle right. Raffle is a hard character to get right.
That
'Cause it's just
hazmat
got
hood
that-
is kind of unique because it has the translucent face that I think is going to look really good in 3D.
Yeah. Here's pupilless raffle. Very creepy.
Jeez. You wake up with that on the end at the end of your bed. What do you do? Right? Possessed raffle.
Yeah.
Obey. It really is. Yeah,
Wait.
I love the artist, but she was like wanting feedback on this, and I remember Dan very politely was like, I can't really give a full answer.
Yeah.
I need the pupils in there too. I'm very distracted right now.
We've raffle is funny because when they first started out, it looked like it was giving you like bedroom eyes almost. I was like, not quite. Like it's got this kind of deadpan bored expression. I felt like he was looking into my soul.
Yeah. The raffle
And
looks
the first
unimpressed.
one, it looked like it was on like an LSD trip. Like the pupils were huge. So it's very, I think it's pretty close now. But the front of it looks pretty good. It's the shape of the raffle now. It's got a kind of a hunch to it, and we're like, no, we don't really want it to have like. It looks almost like it's like an old man.
Like
Like
back
got a
problem.
hunch to it. Yeah. So the eyes look great, but now it's like the side that we're working on. We try not to spend too much time on the wearables. Like try and get them. Like we don't want to. We can't delay too much on like tiny gritty specifics. But for raffle, we're like we got to get the character. It's such an important character. We got to get it right.
Yeah, it's like the same said for all the pets. Like they're literally characters as well. So it's definitely twice the effort.
Okay, but can we have this eyeless raffle as an option? Because I kind of want it. It matches my Gotchi now.
It is pretty, it would go really well with yours. Yeah, kick those blue cacti to the side. Yeah, maybe it'll make an appearance. Who knows? It's the hypno raffle. I'm pretty happy with the sus butterfly. I don't know if that one's handy and how many we want to show, but sus has come a long way.
I wanted to do a tweet on it, but I didn't get it out in time. Oh my god, sus. Should we drop sus?
Drop the
I think we
sus.
should.
62 people here in the chat. You guys willing to come out, hang out on the weekend? Why not?
All I gotta say is I loved this sus so much. I literally went out and bought one because I'm just like, I'm gonna have to have this sus. It's probably way overpriced, but I bought it.
Dan had to act on his alpha.
Drop it. Let's see. See if I have it. I do have one locally here, so here we go.
You know you downloaded that.
This is sus.
It looks even more sus in 3D.
Right?
Fucking love it, man.
A lot of detail. Without going too crazy, because they're supposed to be simple, but you know, I like sus a lot. And seeing sus animated is going to be the next level, right?
Just says eyes like, what are you up to? Yeah, and the little eyelashes that you'll never see them in game because you probably won't get this close up to sus, but they're there. Very sus. I love this one. And immaterial, I did see you were asking about the brain. I think we have confirmed brain. Let me check here. That'll be the last one.
Galaxy
Move
Brain.
on here. Galaxy Brain is, I gotta find the thread here. Yeah, Galaxy
Got a few
Brain.
days ago.
The lighting of this, I would say, the lighting doesn't look amazing, but the texture of the brain and stuff is looking really good. But pardon the lighting because it's not that great for this screenshot for some reason.
Zbot says texturizing continues, so
So this is your brain on Gotchi. Here's let me get it closer up. The brain. Gotchi.
This one went through quite a few iterations. You gotta get those lumps of brain correct.
Yeah.
You gotta get all the folds correct, right? You gotta have the right amount of folds.
The folds and like the original one was I'll show it here. To me it looked kind of like a mushroom. Let me find it here. Yeah. I felt like it looked more like a mushroom hat, or like it didn't really have a brain stem. So we had to request the artist, can you make it look more like a frontal lobe? This was the original one. Doesn't look bad, but it's like it just doesn't look as brainy. Looks a little bit too mushroomy.
It was very mirrored, what's the word? So a little too perfect.
The folds gotta be more random.
A little bit. I think so.
Yeah, great looking wearables. I'm stoked for the Unity builds here and seeing what other games even come out. And yeah, the arena. We can't forget about the arena. So there's some pretty epic things, like in the sense of the arena too. Being able to play in 3D and just the view, like the viewpoint of playing a game in 3D versus 2D is like a complete game changer, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Spirit Force Arena, from what I can tell, they are ending their sprint on January 26th, and there's a shitload of stuff that they're adding. I do see Andy here. I don't know if he'll be able to give any input on what is coming, but it's definitely going to be a big one.
I think it's the biggest yet, and a lot of it is just where to start. But you're going to see changes to the HUD, to the main menu. The special weapons are getting kind of a big adjustment in a number of ways to make those more engaging and more fun. And there's some actual connectivity coming, I do believe. I think Andy's probably down to confirm that. And
yeah, Connect Wallet stuff. So we're working on this SDK that's going to include the Connect Wallet functionality, which is powered by Third Web. So it's Unity SDK. It comes with the same like functionality that we have on the DApp. It also includes social login, and so he'll be including that, and that's going to open up a lot of potential like work that we can do with quests and stuff. So we finally actually have wallets being linked in the game. Right now we don't, like, you show up and you just use a random ID. We don't have any wallets. So now we're actually going to be getting that wallet data, and people can sign in with wallets if they want. So that's going to be pretty cool, and that's going to make it really easy for literally anyone. Like it's a Web 2 login if you want. We're also going to be pushing that functionality to the DApp as well. So we should start seeing people signing up with like Google and Apple and things like that pretty soon. Yeah, Musashi, we are using Third Web. It's crazy, man. There's so many like Web2 login providers out there, but just for our specific needs, we need Unity. We need something that has social login. We want like a easy connect wallet plugin, which a lot of them don't have. It's just like funny that all the different needs that we have specifically for our ecosystem, Third Web is literally doing like exactly what we needed. So like things like account abstraction, smart wallets, they have all that stuff. They're working on all that, and very well funded team as well. So I asked them multiple times, like, "Are you guys gonna be around 5 years from now?" And they're very well funded, very cool team. So I'm pretty excited to be like they're gonna be a core partner going forward for the gaming console. All right, we got Andy Tudor here. Wallet login, play with your Gotchi, new champions, new main menu hub, unified profile, potion shops, proto licks, maybe, new weapon stance, HUD, longer and clearer airdrops, FUD bomb, bugs and fixes.
I've seen some of the new champions. I see Thrax, you're interested in that. I can leak a couple that I remember being mentioned, and I love the idea of the monk archer. So we have the monk archer on the way. Start assembling that set in your head. And I remember one being called the Hawaii fox. So that could be a fun one too. Maybe a couple really fun ones. Pretty sure. And there's many more, but those are the two off the top of my head that stuck out. I love the names.
And then,
Andy, are these champions actually gonna? They don't have specific abilities yet, but I think the going forward they eventually will like play differently, right?
I think so. I think for now, it's just more champions, but eventually, like that'll probably be the next ship. Yeah.
People probably wondering like, what's a champion? From my understanding, a champion. So the way that Spirit Force is going to handle different like power levels of gotchis is that we're gonna have different BRS tiers, and so each of the champions that Andy and the team have designed kind of are like a first free to play version of each tier. So I think there's 7 or 8 tiers going up all the way up to like 800 to 900 and like 900, 1,000 plus BRS. And so if you're a noob coming into the game, you're not going to get to play with the 800 BRS champions yet. You'll have to kind of work your way up to that. There will be exceptions. There will be ways to occasionally play above your rank, but in general, you'll be kind of starting out in the noob champions. But that's good because you need to learn how to play the game before we throw you in with like the really complex mechanics.
and then you'll be able to play with your own gotchi. So I guess if you and that's kind of like the major benefit to owning a gotchi there in the arena.
Yeah,
is you can actually
if you own a gotchi, well, so yeah, you can customize it beyond what you have as like a fixed champion because you can't really change the champions too much. But you'll also, if you have a gotchi that's 800 BRS, you'll be eligible to play in that BRS category. Nice.
Yeah, Andy Tudor adding in here. They have slightly different traits, but unlikely you'll notice the difference because the wearables have different amounts of armors. The Citadel Knight or AP, so the Witch. So each one will feel different based on weapons and abilities, which is it appeals to all different play styles. Like for me, I like to play range. I like to play from a distance. So I like the range setups. And some people like the more like melee kind of setup where they're out like maybe like an armored knight or something. So yeah, I think that makes sense to have and then if you have your own gotcha, you can actually maybe mix it up and have a combination of any of those things.
Yep. Yeah, Guardians is also doing some really, really interesting stuff with this idea of like champions. They're taking it also pretty wild, and that'll also be something they're working on for ETH Denver. Like they have a tall order to get a ton of functionality out, but these games are going to play totally different than they are like currently by the time we get to ETH Denver. Like they feel like real games with real progression systems, whereas like right now they're kind of like demos still, because you can play it once, feels good, play it a couple times, you're like, all right, yeah, I get the point, but there's nothing to progress. There's no sense of improving and unlocking stuff. So that's and that's, I feel like that's kind of true with Web3. Like a lot of the games right now they still kind of feel like demos. So we're definitely on the cusp of having like a full achievement system for all the games we're working on. And that achievement system will also be available to any games that want to plug into it. So I know, yeah, Gotchi Battler, if they want to have different badges and achievements, they'll be able to have them play dropped. We'll be able to link into that. Like any game building on Aavegotchi will have access to these badges and that whole like progression system. Very cool tech.
This third web integration and social logins is going to be huge, because it's just going to be that much like easier to onboard my friends and family immediately, and then of course everyone else. Like the NFT part is really just there for the rest of us who can customize our players and have a even better experience. But at the same time, nobody's left out. So super excited for that to finally be a reality. We've all been wanting that for a long time.
It's a really interesting way to think about games, and I know Lost Local was on a space with a bunch of other games like Nifty Island and a few others there talking about this thing.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Nifty Island a little bit. Have you guys played it at all? Just up front, we reached out to them in October and gave them all the models they needed for Aavegotchis. The contract stuff where they're trying to like index our contract, I think they are running into some issues. It seems to be similar to what happened with Sandbox, although they're not really giving exact details on that. So we are waiting for them to basically finish that process, so Gotchis will start appearing in wallets. But unfortunately, like we were definitely over communicating with them early on, and like we were part of the launch, but unfortunately they just did not have the Gotchis in time for some reason. But I'm curious, what do people think so far after this first weekend? You guys enjoying it?
See, Smokescreen has dropped a screenshot there.
Nice.
Yeah, I made an island. It's very basic, but yeah, I've been playing around with it a little bit. I like that you can design. You can implement games on your island and then invite friends over. And yeah, on social media, it's been kind of dope seeing some of the big gamers go at it, like Real Jonah Blake, who's bringing his project over to Polygon. Big gaming guy was posting all these screenshots dunking on Kagi Jan, which I thought was funny because they're like, you're able to go to your favorite person's island and potentially fight them, or play with all the people that are coming there. So you're seeing a lot of these islands pop up that have like in the title, 25 bloom on spawn. So it's like almost like a bribe to earn kind of situation here.
That last part you said. So what? Like if you come to my island, you'll get 25.
Yeah, I see everyone's got like blooms. In what does that mean? I haven't played it yet.
So the
Like
bloom is
Nuketown,
like
25 blooms.
Yeah, bloom is the in-game currency that you collect, and then you can use that bloom to build out your island, upgrade it, or get some of the NFTs that they have in their little marketplace. Like there's an Aavegotchi that you can get if you get 50,000 bloom. So I think the more bloom you earn and spend upgrading your island and playing in other people's game, the higher the allocation of island token. But I think Al knows way more about this because he's like in the loop. on that. Yeah, it is definitely like an off-chain token similar to our friends. So I don't think there'll be any regulatory risk. I didn't have to use a VPN to actually log into the game. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. The only thing is you have to download the game to your computer, PC or Mac,
Mhm.
and it is a lot of fun. I will say, it is a lot of fun.
Is there like stuff to do? You know, you play a few rounds on an island. I've seen people talking about like you can kind of customize your island a little bit. I'm gonna probably play it tomorrow a little bit, but like, what's keeping people there? Is there any like progression or things to do long term?
Well, some people are doing with their islands, you set up your game so you can play PvP against everybody else. Other
Mhm.
people are building their islands like custom builds and adding their NFT art. So it's kind of like the concept of our lodges, where like in my little house, I have frames. So I'm able to put up some of my ERC 1155s and 721s, the ones that are approved by them, up there. So I was able to put like my Cool Cat X Ghost collab on my campfire. Outside of that, really, it's just like a play drop. Everybody's just playing to try to get as many blooms as possible for the potential drop of island token.
Got it. So I mean, yeah, obviously everyone's playing to earn island, so and earning bloom as points, and you're trying to get as much island as you can. Looking at the numbers, like on their islands, I'm trying to see if you look at DAUs, if you look at the islands, like that's the only place where people are online, right? So if it says 24 online, that means there's like 24 people in that specific island. So like to check DAUs, you just add up all the islands basically.
Yeah, I believe so. And from what I've heard, the metrics are not like amazing. I think it's only a few hundred people at any given time. But we were laughing, like kind of. I was talking with Jonah Blake on a like one of his threads, and saying it's like, yeah, there might only be 300 or 400 people, but that's pretty much everybody in Web3 gaming trying this out. It's a hit and miss.
Yeah, probably. No, it's not that bad, but it is interesting to see like doing a huge airdrop like this where all of Web3 is invited, and I mean, people are still coming online, so, but there's like not even like 400 like players online.
It may pick up on the weekend too, and
Yeah.
as the day gets started here for U.S. side, if that's where more players are, not sure. Really, players should be from worldwide. I don't know why it'd be region and time zoned, so maybe not.
Yeah, it's cool to see. Definitely,
Yeah.
we're gonna try to get these gotchis in there as soon as we can, and then we're also working on. Someone was asking, could we get some like golden altars and like other gotchi paraphernalia added to the shop? So we're also working on that. We're gonna get some decorations. We'll get some golden altars, normal altars, all sorts of stuff. We're just waiting to get the models. But yeah, good. I mean, this is why we're doing everything in 3D, guys, because it done. It's just so easy to integrate into platforms like this. This is why we do believe like 3D is kind of the future. So I'm really glad that we made that decision early on to now start being supported in more of these games. It's just good for the overall, integration of Aavegotchi. Gives us a bigger presence. And they just look cool. These look cool in 3D.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm more curious, like what we were just talking about in player count, because trying to get a sense of the Web3 gaming community at large. Like Nifty is definitely all over my
Yeah.
socials. They're having a great first launch, as far as I can tell. So I had to expect to see really big numbers of players, and it's good to see there are
Are they
players.
like limiting players right now? Like, is there a queue or something to get in?
Yes, there is.
There was a queue on day one, I remember, because I had to wait 300 people deep. Also,
Yeah.
one Gotchi Gang member Twan says, I think only a certain number of islands are shown. Like you won't see mint features, but you can search for it.
See what? What's it called?
He said mint features. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, I don't think like the top islands like this the filtering that I saw when I was looking at it was based on you could put it at most number of people. So I don't think I've seen an island with more than 25 people at a time. And I played it a couple times during the Polygon Hangout, so around 10 a.m. Eastern, which I think assuming all of us Web3 homies are unemployed, is probably peak time for a lot of people playing.
Yeah, if you click, I clicked on has players. That's a filter, and of the 11,000 or something islands, it gives you 162 results. So I mean, I'm going to assume that that's probably correct. I don't know why they'd hide islands that have players. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. I know we got Andy here. Andy's been reaching out to some friends and will continue reaching out to more friends here in the audience. Because now that the Spirit Force Arena is very close to being like to a point where it's not done, but it's done what we needed it to do, which is like prove of concept for the Photon and Unity engine. We'll be starting to work more on continuing with Gotchiverse, and I know he's been reaching out. So if you guys do have any, like, we're very curious, what is like the number one thing that people want in the Gotchiverse? It's like seeing things like, Pixels or Nifty Island or other Web3 games coming out and like metaverse stuff. Has that changed anyone's opinion about what we'd like? And we're just curious, like space is a little bit changed from when we put the white paper out, but maybe it hasn't changed that much. But we want to make sure that the effort, the time we spend on the Gotchiverse is going to be building what you guys want, and not going off in like a direction that no one's really excited about. So crucial time right now to lock in which exact features of the Gotchiverse we want to focus on first. Like looking at the light paper, and then also looking at what's popular in Web3 or we think has a good chance of like attracting new players.
I would say the two things I love the most from Nifty Island, one is the house, because you have a lot of room to kind of like customize your island, but having the house where I can display my NFTs, it is really cool. Like I've gone to other people's like MB Noah Blonsky, I think his name is. He's like a digital art critic who's like big on the Ethereum side. He comes over to our Polygon Hangouts. I went to his island and he had all this weird NFT art. And it was just cool to walk around and look at it because it wasn't necessarily like PFPs. It was more like digital one-of-ones that looked very cool. The other thing that I think is very interesting is the way they allow you to deploy games. Like you can deploy a simple death match. You can deploy like a foot race. I haven't unlocked all the games, but being able to set up like in my say lodge a game like a game of chess or something that people can come by and play with me, or like against the house, like for whatever leaderboard, those kind of things would be really cool. I just don't honestly I don't know how hard that is to implement those kind of things.
I mean, that actually sounds like something we've been ideating on quite seriously, is just like user-generated content, like Thrax is saying, but more specifically, like the ability to create certain scenarios or like situations or games on your parcel. So whether in a lodge or otherwise. So yeah, that's really interesting.
I like
Yeah,
the.
like you guys
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, go for it.
I was just gonna chime in and say I really like the MMORPG feel of games. I enjoy playing RuneScape and WoW, where you go on these quests, and maybe you have to go through dungeons or fight PvE monsters, and you have to actually have some sort of coordination with other members and doing these dungeon runs with 4 or 5, 10, 50 people for certain quests, and to be able to do that in like a vast expanse in the Gotchiverse would be really cool.
Want the grid, don't you? You just need the grid.
Yeah. Out there in the wilderness.
I know you guys were working on poker. if you could set it up so that I can bring people to my lodge and we sit down at a table, but that table like interfaces into the poker game that you guys are developing, that would be really cool to be able to access. Like, say, you
Yeah.
can come over to my house, and if we want to play a round of dropped, we can all jump in the lodge and do that. I don't know how that would work, but it would be really cool.
Right. That kind of stuff, I think it can be done really well. It's like not needing to
It's
go
just
to
a
the website
game in a
anymore.
game.
It's a game.
Well,
in
it
a
would
game.
be a like you'd play drops. I guess if they right now it's browser based, so it would be fairly easy to do that. You would just pull up like an iframe and play the game in the game. If it's loading another Unity game, I don't know how that works actually. It's probably a way to like switch to another game within a game. But it also it's kind of like the idea of the Gotchiverse almost as a game launcher for other games, like other Gotchi games, because we do want to also have a launcher, and we're thinking, well, maybe the Gotchiverse is the game launcher. We don't need to make like a dedicated launcher. The Gotchiverse is the launcher, so that could potentially be like not obviously the main use case, but it would be like a lobby where you could hang around and like when your friends come on, you could see what kind of games they're playing and like get notifications and stuff to play games with them. So that could be one potential direction, just to like have that access point, because we need to do that anyway with our games. Checking the comments here.
Yeah. Also, GBM integration, where I can like throw up a like an auction in my lodge and just sit there. Like, if I want to do a 1 hour auction and just kind of live sit there and watch people come over and interact with my auction, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. GBMs in real time with real people would just be nuts. You see my Gotchi raise its hand to make a bid. You're like, he's doing it. He's going for it.
That would be pretty crazy. Yeah, things like that we really want to deliver on, and like the light paper mentions like voting, finally having that DAO square where you can vote and like just like chat together with friends in the Gotchiverse. It's like there's two ways to go. We either make games that are for this specific community and like people are not going to get them because they're not going to care, or we try to go wider. And I feel like with Guardians, the reason we wanted to do Guardians was because we felt like there was a lack of a game that could help Aavegotchi like go wider and attract a bigger audience, because the Gotchiverse is like very niche to our community and our needs. But now we have Guardians. I think is going to do very well, and we just need to like Gotchiverse is probably going to focus on the needs of our specific community. And as more and more people join the community, they'll be able to participate.
I do think the Gotchiverse needs some kind of tension. Like there has to be some sort of like win-lose, or like the whole idea that liquidators invading the Gotchiverse every few seasons or whatever, coming in there, and it has to be a community coordination event where everyone has to actually coordinate in some way to fight these things off, or else something happens. Like I think there needs to be some global like events that happen in the Gotchiverse that people have to band together around.
We definitely want. I think that's definitely an interesting idea. The only caveat is we don't want to like destroy people's shit in the game. Like,
yeah.
But we might make a type form. I mean, I think we've gotten a lot of feedback already. Maybe we'll make a type form to gather some more. But the good news is the Spirit Force Arena kind of tech demo and game is coming along very nicely. It's got everything we want, and so next step is really post ETH Denver. It's all about Gotchiverse.
Nice. We got some sneak previews there of the Gotchiverse earlier in the year. Some very early
and
stuff.
we are planning to have a demo like of the 3D Gotchiverse within February for sure.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Me too, sir. Me too.
And
so
with that being said, shall we start the DAOur?
Sure.
All right. Here, let me, as usual, we'll start with our proposal review. So let me get this up here. Okay. What's this with China? Okay, cool. From now on, China is going to have to post that every time we start the DAOur. Mandatory. Alrighty here. Okay, we'll start with Agip 105 here. Supply 3.5 million treasury DAI to Aave. So this proposal was written by Dr. Wagme, suggesting that we allocate roughly 3.5 million DAI to the Aavegotchi from the Aavegotchi DAO treasury to Aave v3, and with an average APR of 4.3%. So if that APR stays around there for over that period of time, it would be around 154K in revenue to the DAO. So it's an interesting yield strategy. And it looks like we have 68% of the DAO that's in favor of this and 32% that were not in favor of this proposal. And we met quorum with 9.5 million votes. And so, the benefits and risks are outlined here in the proposal. You guys can have a look. This proposal is still active. And so if you haven't voted on this yet, you have 2 days to get your votes on this. And the next one up here, we have Aavegotchi Grants Program. You guys have any comments on that? Oh, yeah. Some people saying, Dr. Wagme saying 14% APY right now. Awesome. That's great. Aavegotchi Grants Program. And so this is a proposal written by me, FIFO, National Bank, Crypto-Gotchi, PG. And the whole idea was this, to have a funding container for small projects, seed funding small projects, and community ideas and initiatives. So things that maybe the DAO, things that people may feel like is too much to go through the SIG and core process. There's been a ton of feedback on this, and if you look at the results, they're actually kind of interesting. So 50% of the DAO said do not fund. 36% said 163K to fund the committee. And then 13% said 263K to fund the committee. So it's almost like 50-50 down the middle. And I did receive a decent amount of, there's a lot of feedback actually on this proposal. So, we'll take that into account. I think one of the biggest ones was maybe the budget was too large. So we'll review that, and if you actually have more feedback on this, I'd love to see it in the thread. So there's an AGP thread open in the forum, and if you actually have any other comments to add, you can throw them in the chat right now. But in short, this is a grants funding vehicle. Take the feedback into account and maybe tweak some things, and hopefully we can win more votes. So have a look at this proposal if you haven't already. I think you still have 2 days to vote on this. So get your votes in on that. And last one here, this one is a closed proposal, ended about 18 hours ago. This was a liquidity incentives proposal by Ape Bond. And this was started in a thread in Discord. Proposal summary. Basically, it's a strategic initiative to allocate DAI from Aavegotchi DAO's liquidity wallet to bond into QuickSwap LPs through Ape Bond, which is a third-party bonding mechanism, and the aims to enhance the depth of Ghost USDC liquidity. But I know there's already been some discussion around adding liquidity to markets for Ghost. So maybe that's why this one didn't do so well. I'm not sure. But it looks like 80% of the DAO was against this one, only 19% in favor. And it actually didn't even meet quorum. So, Julian, Boba, Adam, if you would like to, yeah, I think you have a thread open already. So maybe you can, if you have feedback for them, you can drop that in the chat there. Yeah, Dr. Wagme, yeah, you're up here, and we are wrapped up with the snapshot proposals. So with that being said, I will give you the stage, sir. Welcome. Yep, GM. He might just need a minute. You're muted currently.
Oh no, I hope he's not having the same issue that Coder Dan has.
Well, it looks like he's muted, so I don't. Maybe he's preoccupied. Has to finish
Someone
with the
push
patient.
this man a mic.
Who else is scheduled to present today? We have Gotchi Farmy that'll be coming up here as well and talking about. Yeah, that's right. I did not post the agenda, but we have Gotchi Farmy coming up here talking about the sandbox. So, if Dr. Wagme is preoccupied right now, we could get GFA can come up here as well. Give Dr. Wagme a minute if you would like to. Yeah, just there you go. I think he's
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm here either way. Want me to go now or
Yeah,
wait?
go
wait a little
ahead.
bit?
You can go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, I teased this a little bit last week, and you know, basically, I'm just incredibly proud of this community and the ability for so many people to stay engaged. So with that, I was thinking about how to continue to recognize and support members of the community and keep everybody engaged. And one of our favorite people, Hardcore, has been going through it a little bit in real life. So wanted to do something kind of special for him, for the community. Hopefully something that's more than just a one-time thing and sustainable. But the great Phantasma designed a pretty cool fake for him that will be going live here shortly. And I wanted to share that with the community. And I don't really know what the future of like Hall of Fame fakes look like, or what the Gotchiverse looks like. But I think the ability for us to kind of recognize each other, celebrate each other, keep people engaged will be important to sustaining all the awesome stuff that we have. So I wanted to kind of debut this for Hardcore and just let him know we really appreciate him. And then kind of also open up an invitation for the community to do the same thing, to support the people that are here week in, week out. And I just kind of look forward to having that on my parcel or whatever Gotchiverse 3D looks like, maybe hanging on my walls someday. But just huge shout out to Hardcore for being awesome, and really appreciate him.
Yeah, thank you
That's
for doing this.
amazing
It looks
piece.
amazing, honestly.
Pretty dope, right? Yeah, Phantasma is awesome. He really captured the vibe. I like how fast things are changing in Hardcore's hand, because I feel like that's how his mind works, where he's just like rapidly firing through things. That's a really cool piece.
The iconic Hardcore like outfit. I feel like that's become like his like when I see that in the Gotchiverse, even if it's another Gotchi, I'm like, oh, that must be Hardcore. Oh, that's awesome. So could you tell us a little bit more about the fake piece itself? Like, are there going to be multiple editions of this? Are they going to be like, how are they going to be sold, auctioned, or is it just a one of one?
Man, I think we all need a little Hardcore. So I think there'll be multiple. I'll leave it up to Phantasma, the artist, on exactly how to distribute. But I think my goal is to get as many as we can in the hands of the community, and we'll make sure Hardcore has some, and the artists, and I have a couple other pieces of mind for other people in the community. And kind of anyone that's recognized, I want them to have a copy of all the ones that we've done. But look forward to those. There'll be plenty available for the community to snag at a reasonable price.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really cool to see this kind of appreciation happening within the community, especially for like dedicated people. Every time there's a thread posted, I see hardcore in there almost right away, and that feedback goes a long way. You know, because I know some of us don't always get to jump into the thread right away. You post your thread in the Discord, you're kind of waiting for feedback, and I know hardcore is always there with his candid feedback. So that goes a long way, and that's one thing I've really appreciated about hardcore. One of many things.
Oh, for sure. He's a staple of presence in the community. And last year we had a really cool thing where we just went through and kind of acknowledged all the people we like in the community and that have contributed so much. Having a culture of that, I think, will be important for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Hardcore is a beast, well deserved. All love to hardcore. Thanks for always shooting the shit with me. Hardcore has been an incredible friend and asset and helping shape the future of Dropped. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, a lot of that candid feedback goes a long way and makes the community experience even better. I often find it difficult to follow Hardcore's posts, and I love it. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in his posts. I definitely spend time going back, reading some of the posts, and there's some really good feedback in many of them. Let's see. We definitely need to have that Hall of Fame in the 3D version. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That would be cool. That was a great idea, by the way.
For what it's worth, I did get the old classic 10 Hall of Fame pieces back up and live over there in the DAO district. But I think we're all excited for what 3D Gotchiverse looks like and being able to walk through there and make that a key part of the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. I'll read a couple more comments. I went to hardcore when I was designing my wearable sets because I knew he would know what the game needed. That's from Soju. Awesome. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, hardcore, man. You're killing it. And, you know, Dr. Wagme, Phantasma, thank you guys for putting this together. And, you know, also shout out to all the other community contributors that have been active throughout this time, because obviously, you know, the last couple years with the bear market might have tamped down like spirit in other communities, but I didn't see that here. Like our Discord, like our DAO calls and hangouts actually like grew somewhat during that time. And so I think that just shows it's the strength of our community for sure. Yeah, shout out to all 65 friends. I know many familiar faces showing up here every week, and you know, it takes a certain level of commitment, and I think that's what makes this community special, is the amount of like effort and care that goes into just showing up. Like that's like 90% of success right there. So yeah, well, that being said, speaking of community members that have contributed, we have the Gotchi Farmy GFA up here with us today. Welcome up. And
GM friends.
I know you guys have built some epic experiences in this time. Some really impressive stuff happening over there in Sandbox. Aavegotchi's flexing hard in the Sandbox right now. So just looking forward to like what you're envisioning for the future of this experience.
Yeah. Are you hearing me fine? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, I think to begin with, I wanted to communicate the new location of the location of the Aavegotchi gaming estate in the Sandbox. So I just sent the link right now. Jesse made the work this week to arrange everything. The place is clear to be settled, if I can say that. So you can go, guys. So now Aavegotchi is on a sandbox map. So I think it's quite cool to have the picture of the project over there. So yeah, that leads us to the proposal we posted on the forum. I don't know if you guys had the occasion to have a read through, but don't hesitate to go there and to give us feedbacks. But the idea of this proposal, it's as we are going to implement on that space the single player experience that was released during November. It's going to be back live in the next weeks. So after that, the proposal we made is we proposed GFS service to perform the maintenance of the experience, because as you know, there are a lot of different versions of the game maker that always evolve. So that's a continuous process of quality, if I can say that. So that's the aim of the proposal. Yeah. So yeah, I think Refe, you had a read through already, and hardcore, of course. But yeah, we already got some feedbacks. Oh, I saw Jesse posted the location of the parcel. Great.
Yeah, so this is, just to be clear, this is actually, it's a parcel, but it's actually an estate in the sandbox. It's 9 parcels, right?
Yeah, it's a 3x3 estate. So that allows Aavegotchi project to get minimum 9 one-by-one experiences over there. So it could be 9 totally different experiences. Or it could be shared differently. So as you know, the single player experience is 2x2. So we still have some space for the multiplayer coming, we are working on. And also for maybe new projects that could be delivered by the community or for special events, whatever we want. So that's the possibility which is given by self-publishing, which is now a native feature of Sandbox, a bit like what we are witnessing with Nifty Island. So yeah, but with the Sandbox ecosystem, yes.
Yeah, so the experience GFA is built will be published to this parcel. And so how many, like, there's 9 parcels of land, and how many, like, I'm trying to figure out the the size of this experience. Will it take up the whole 9 parcels, or will there be room, like if Aavegotchi, for example, wanted to host like other experiences, or GFA wanted to expand? Are there opportunities for that?
Yeah, so the single player is 2x2. So it just takes 4 parcels out of the 9. Okay. With the multiplayer coming, it will take 1 more parcel. So 4 parcels remain unoccupied. So it could, it could be, it could host new projects. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so
yeah,
just I think you mentioned multiplayer as well, which is something we haven't experienced yet. Could you kind of touch on like what that might look like?
Yeah, for sure. So as you witnessed, the experience we released in November was made on a 0.9 version of Game Maker. So it's the more or less the single player version of Game Maker. You could do multiple experiences with this engine, I can say, but it wasn't really the purpose of it. So now they released the 0.9 for a few weeks. And the 0.9 is really made for multiplayer experiences, like with new features and all that kind of stuff. So about the work we already did for the Aavegotchi multiplayer, we are working on. We had to do some rewrap in order to adapt the experience to that new features, but we're still working on it. And so on. So the multiplayer experience, I think, is something that is going to bring really some value as you can host community events over there with everybody on the same parcel. You can have some leaderboards, competitions. You can do a lot of different things to bring engagement and to have fun events. Yeah, I think that's the point here. So yeah, it brings a lot of possibilities. This one. So yes, and as I mentioned earlier, we are going to bring the single player here, and what we are going to do, that was part of the initial proposal we made in 2023 last year. We are gonna do the migration from 0.8 to 0.9 for the single player we already released, as all experiences we are going to deliver will be on 0.9 version, which was the contract, if I could say that, the DAO has with us. Oh yeah, Brolian just brought a little scheme here explaining what spots would be occupied and what would be available at the end of the delivery of the two experiences.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm seeing that. Yeah, so the 4 parcels for the single experience, and then the multiplayer experience will be another additional parcel. I guess I don't really understand. Me personally, I don't understand how the multiplayer takes an extra parcel. Is that going to be a separate experience to play that multiplayer, like a separate
Totally
game
different
altogether?
experience.
Okay.
Separate game. Yeah, the
Ah.
single player is really like come discover Aavegotchi world. I think you'll witness that when you played. It's like educational and come discover the ecosystem. And the multiplayer one is more like advanced gameplay. We would like to bring some fun in here. Like you can shoot liquidators. You have a leaderboard reflecting your performances, more like gaming. Yeah, that's the aim of the multiplayer we are working on. So it's a bit different talking about gameplay. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a pretty big point to touch on, because yeah, like you said, the 4 parcel experience right now is like I think of it as like a Aavegotchi theme park. So you go through there, you get to go through some experiences, some quests, you get to learn about the Gotchiverse. By the time you're done, you know like how the channeling works, you know how wearables work. You have a really good idea of how the Gotchiverse and parcels and everything. You have a pretty much an overhead view of the lore. Like you get a bit of everything with that. And now with this multiplayer experience, it sounds like this is going to be a more competitive style gaming, like a true gaming experience, where there'll be, like you say, a leaderboard and there'll be some competition there. This sounds really interesting. And I see Mr. Seb has actually dropped a looks like a teaser in there. Lucky Licky.
Yeah.
Is interesting.
Little alpha.
A little alpha.
And yeah. The thing which is interesting there is that you can buy your Aavegotchi mug in the theme park, and after that you migrate to the multiplayer. Yeah, that's the idea. So yeah, the aim of the proposal we made is that, so once everything would be 0.9, 0.9 is evolving a lot. Sandbox is bringing features like I can say weekly, bi-weekly. So that's some work to keep always the experiences up and working, because between each version you have something removed, added, so you can have some gameplay which is breaking, that kind of stuff. So if we want to have a smooth experience for players that can come whatever they want on the map, that's the idea of it. We are proposing our services for keeping the land operating, and maybe adding sometimes some little things in it when we are doing special events, maybe during Hangouts or for specific collaboration, I don't know. But yeah, that brings the possibility for the community to be able to host that kind of stuff and having the land evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm just, you may or may not know, but what are some of the major like changes between point 8 and point 9? Is there anything specific that would be needed for the migration. For like, I guess one of the things you mentioned is to prevent like any glitchy or buggy experiences would be one of the reasons to keep this maintained up to date with the latest version.
Um,
But
and
there's a-
also, it's to be eligible to main sandbox event. We are going to try to be integrated on. So that's also part of the proposal. Because right now, Sandbox is not going to integrate teams in events according to their name or VIP. I think it will still exist, but less. Now they're going to bring eligible lands, for example, for alpha season, so Sandbox rewards directly upon the traffic generated on the map with self-publishing. So, for example, if Aavegotchi map uh, estate is generating quite some traffic, and we are well ranked, we could be directly automatically integrated in some sandbox specific events in which they are providing direct sounds, for example, reward for communities. So that's interesting. That's part of the partnership, and yeah, I think that brings value also to Aavegotchi to be integrated in that kind of move.
yeah, no, big value. There's a cross promotion opportunity there,
Mm.
which is like
Yeah,
the whole point
exactly.
of having like an experience in the sandbox, in my opinion, is to have exposure to all these other Web3 projects, to be on the map there when someone's going to the sandbox map to jump into an experience. And I've experienced this firsthand myself, like being, playing Ripples of the Gotchiverse. You finish the experience and you jump back to like the homepage of Sandbox, and there's like 3 or 4 other experiences right next to it, and I just clicked into it, and you have your Aavegotchi avatar, so you just go in there uh,
Mm-hmm.
and go and do your thing.
Yeah.
So that totally makes sense, and it makes sense why you would want to go migrate over to 0.9, not only for the bug fixes, but features like this as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really the spirit of it. To be able to even go after with do other experiences, have cross partnerships. Yeah, that's really part of it. So yeah, that's the proposal we are making,
Mhm.
and it also includes all the work we are doing weekly for almost a year now. Every week we have calls with Sandbox to talk about the project, to talk about the partnership, to be able to have latest news, to be able to give the orientations to what we are doing with the maps, with the marketing, all that kind of stuff, to be in the if I could say in the good train when an event is launching, that kind of stuff. So that's also some time which is included in the proposal. And after that, you have, well, I could say experiences updates and technical monitoring. So tickets with Sandbox about 0.9 bugs we could have, so to maintain things. So that's not a lot of work, but yeah, the timing are estimated in the proposal, but yeah, weekly it does, yeah, I can say 4 or 5 hours per profile. So yeah, that's the aim of the proposal in his initial form. Yeah.
Yeah, I see Coder Dan has actually linked the proposal here as well. I'm looking at it, and it's a well put together proposal outlining the single player experience, what it was like, the Aavegotchi lore, cross universe, like artistic creation, and then now the multiplayer experience. So it says early 2024, which seems like it's going to be, it's going to be in line with the releases of many other like really cool Aavegotchi experiences. And then you say some out of scope milestones as well, including this graphic novel, which I'm really looking forward to.
Mhm. Yeah. We're working on it. I think. Well, I don't know if we can give some alpha. Jesse is going to receive soon, I guess, the draft. So it should be coming soon. Yeah, you will have more details about it quite soon.
Okay. Yeah, actually, might have to do with my next question, so we might have to hold off. We'll see. But I was going to ask in regards to the parcels themselves were purchased by Pixelcraft, and kind of curious to know, like from the comments section from you guys, if the DAO, like if the DAO owning this land is part of the conversation. Can the DAO purchase that land? I think that was mentioned earlier, but kind of
Yeah,
curious to know what
that
you
was
guys think.
part of the. Yeah, I think that's also part of discussion with PC. But in the discussion we had weekly during when we were doing the project, so it was we had that idea to secure an estate, because I think by the time it was bought, it was quite less expensive than right now already. So already a good move. But yeah, the idea could be at last, if it's the DAO will, maybe to have the DAO owning the parcels and operate, and choose what is happening on it, who should maintain it, which team. It can bring competition and quality, I think, to the production you put on it. And yeah, well, it would be also maybe interesting as the DAO put some investment into that. So yeah, that could be interesting. But yes, I think that's part of the discussion, and I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And about what Al mentioned, so I think yeah, it's quite interesting post quite large. So I have to think about it also with the team. But right now, I think the overall single and multiplayer project was a whole piece. We worked almost a year to do that. So the budget was quite large, but it was a lot of work we put on. And so I think the idea of having a group being able to extend and producing new things, that's not part of the proposal we are submitting, but I think it's something very interesting to, well, to see what are we doing with this space now where we can create things. I think Kododan mentioned it, but PC doesn't have the bandwidth to do it. So yeah, that's an open situation, if I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But yeah, that's a vast discussion we're opening here.
yeah, absolutely. And you have a forum thread open right now. So, you know, if you have feedback on this, definitely drop into the forum thread. I've been experimenting with the game maker myself because I have some sandbox land as well. And it's really interesting how you can create different kinds of games, whether it's a platform runner or escape rooms. There's really like endless possibilities of how you could create different games and experiences. You know, of course, the game maker is getting better. Like this version of the game maker is much better than the last, and I imagine it's going to continue being that way. Hopefully, getting better, even better over time.
Yeah, it's very powerful the way they are providing tools for people to create. It's still very experimental. I saw Shrax putting a message before, like when are we going to have the version 1? No 0.9, 0.8, but yeah. I think that's the beauty of it. It always evolves in regards of what the builders are giving as feedbacks. So that's the way the project evolves. But yeah, I think when the final project would be delivered, um, yeah, it really empowers builders to bring value to the ecosystem and to be quite autonomous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Coder Dan asking, what's the plan for the multiplayer game in Sandbox? Could you give us an idea of like what the multiplayer experience could look like? I know I mentioned a few different types of games, but yeah,
Mhm.
maybe you can give us some insight into that.
So right now, the idea is to, well, still being able to witness Aavegotchi ecosystems. So it still has a whole design part, but according to gameplay, it's you will be able to play single or as a team, okay? And the difficulty should be changed according if you are alone or in a team. And when after that you have some milestone to perform at each level to reach the next one. And by the end of it, so you have different type of tasks to perform. And after that, when you reach the bottom, well, then you succeeded. And it's a bit shaped as um, the dungeon, where you can, between each level, use maybe a little device to buy things, to reinforce, to rest in order to be able to fight on the next level. And yeah, the idea really is that we can say during Hangout, okay, guys, so let's go. Let's bring some teams, and we'll see which team is going to do the best score on the map. Well, that's the idea of it. I can't say more right now. Maybe we can do a little presentation in the next weeks, like alpha test for the community, as we can have feedbacks. But yeah, that's definitely going to bring like community gaming and teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Just gonna look a quick look at the comments here, see what people are saying. There's just some ideation happening around the way this could be carried out. My feedback form.
I have some difficulty to follow the chat, a lot of things. But yeah, I think we quite covered it.
Yeah, there's promotional stuff, and so this is just to be clear, this experience that you guys just created with the sandbox was kind of a collaborative experience between Aavegotchi, DAO, yourselves, and the sandbox team, right?
Yeah, as we mentioned, we were part of the GMA fund. So Kododan mentioned it. We got a grant for that, so it was quite a decent amount that allowed us to do some, I could say, to cover wider space. That's the initial proposal, and so that was part of the agreement we negotiated with them and PC. As we have a treatment a bit like some VIP protocols or trademarks, like big one you can witness on Sandbox. And GMF is pushing us as creators. So, for example, we had a dedicated marketing pushed with a Sandbox account. We got a weekly call with a project director, which gave us in advance some new game maker versions in order not to be impacted when new ones were released, all that kind of stuff. And the grant they gave us also allowed us to bring other rewards to the community in Sound, added to the one we already scheduled. So that's why we were allowed, and we succeeded in bringing that amount of reward to the community. Yeah, that was a whole piece. I would say the partnership included all that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as you know, we had some opportunity to do some in real life events in their offices. Like, for example, when the single player was opened, we had a dedicated party in their office and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they were quite supportive all along the way.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's appreciate all the hard work that goes into it, and interested to see the future developments that come out of this pretty large sandbox estate that we have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this with us today. Drop your feedback if you have any more feedback in the forum thread, and we look forward to seeing the proposal.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Refe, for the invitation. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. All right. Well, there's some things I wanted to touch on just real quickly. We got the respec potions just recently dropped, and they're one-time kind of soulbound, I believe soulbound one-time drop that was dropped by the Forge team. Is there interest from the Forge team to continue developing the respec potions, just picking up on last week's discussion, or is this something that Aavegotchi DAO, like, we should kick off a forum thread, or there might be a forum thread open already for respecs as a separate proposal to have these as part of like the game economy?
No, I think it's pretty much done because it gives you one free respec and then you just spend 50 essence to do another one.
Okay.
Like, it's not even a potion. It's just
okay.
something you do on the UI.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay, so we can close that respec chapter. They're good for now. Seems like we're satisfied with how that's going. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think the only changes would be like if essence one day gets too expensive and people are complaining that they don't want to respec because essence is too expensive, then that's a good problem to have, probably.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Next item I have here is regarding providing liquidity to large platforms, specifically like Coinbase, Binance, and I think some other ones. Has there been any like movement on those from your side, Coder Dan? Have you guys been thinking about this more, getting closer to proposal, or is there more feedback you need, specific feedback on things?
Yeah, Golden
Yeah, I can
Crust,
speak to
do
this
you
a
have any
bit.
specific feedback or any updates?
It's a little early. The feedback is originally we were talking exclusively about Skynet trading. I still think, our experience with them over the past year makes them a top choice. But there was also some feedback and suggestions after the calls a few weeks ago here to look into some of the other more well-known names, like some of the big players like GSR, DWF, Wintermute. So we're having those calls. We've talked to them over the years. We're kind of re-engaging in the last couple weeks and seeing about interest in supporting Ghost, contracting with us or the DAO, mostly the DAO. When I say us, I mean Pixelcraft. And yeah, there are some early conversations, but I think it's going to be maybe better to come back next week and I'll be able to present some very. What I'd like to do is come in with 2 or 3 kind of competing offers, although they may not like that. Like each one has varying levels of things they can disclose. I will say the closest and furthest along is, DWF. They have. I'd love to get the community's feedback and opinions if you guys are familiar with them. They're kind of, from my point of view, like the younger new kid on the block, fast growing. There's admittedly some drama around them. I think there was like a conference a couple months ago, and like they had a bunch of market makers on stage, and the GSR people were like, we don't want to be on stage with them or something. So, there's like they have a different like business model, a little bit different formula. But I will say they're really easy to communicate with, and I have a call with them early next week, this coming week, and so after that call, I could probably you'll see the forum update with some more details on that alternate direction we could go. As far as the original guys that we brought in, the issue there was more like the KYC and with the DAO, and not getting into that too much. They think there's some work there, and not all foundations have a UBO, which was the main blight. Like, who is the UBO of the Aavegotchi DAO Foundation? So maybe there's still a way forward with Skynet, but the terms are pretty much straightforward. They're the same as before, and the size of the loan and everything that was discussed a few weeks ago and is in the thread.
Yeah, I mean, I think any organization that we work with will have that kind of UBO requirement. That's pretty standard, like KYB. The other thing was the lack of yield was an issue mentioned by the DAO. The DAO would prefer to have, if possible, like some form of yield on the loan. So that's another area that we wanted to reach out specifically to some other partners and see if there's any other proposals out there?
It's pretty standard speaking. You don't get yield on this kind of deal, but DWF, I said they have a different, more aggressive policy, so you have to weigh it against everything else. But they are the one. There is a yield that they offer on the market making loan, so it's kind of interesting. So how they generate that yield, all that, how they can guarantee it is another thing. But I don't know if that should be the one thing we hang this, decision on. But it is
For sure.
notable. But,
Like a 3% yield is not gonna. At the end of the day, we want to have a legitimate, active partner that's going to work well with Pixelcraft and the DAO, and just like 3% or 5% yield is not worth it if it's not a partner we're all excited to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome for the update. And then, next week we'll have some, I guess, some different offers on the table.
Yeah. I see Oliver asking, why does it need to be routed through the DAO? Mostly because of, this is the DAO call, first of all. So it's a DAO proposal. If we do it with Pixelcraft again, we simply just can't make the same size loans that the DAO can make. I mean, that's it depends how much liquidity support we want to bring to Ghost heading into the new year. And with Pixelcraft Game Studio, we just don't have nearly as much as the DAO. And this actually seems like a great fit for what one of the areas the DAO would be actually really good at handling. It's entirely a kind of on-chain action to move those funds where they need to go, and then make those kind of arrangements. We could maybe get creative with, I don't know. There's many ways to get around this, but the UBO may not be the deal breaker that it looked like it was 2 weeks ago. So I'm already feeling like there's some progress there. But for sure there has to be KYC of the foundation, KYB, I guess. Skynet, yeah, their website's pretty aloof as well. I see Al. Skynet Trading, like we talked about, we already are, Pixelcraft, we're contracted with them with a smaller loan for the last year plus. And they're based out of Europe, super professional guys, super smart, very transparent, monthly reports, all of that. And I just can't say enough good things about them in terms of communication and professionalism. So there's no issues there. They're not as scary as their name suggests with the whole Skynet reference. I don't really get that. Quite the opposite. But yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to read more. Looks like some conversation. Wintermute. We haven't talked to Wintermute in a.
Yeah, we did have someone on the team did send a proposal out, but I don't think or like a request for proposal, but I don't think we've gotten anything back yet from Wintermute.
Yeah, Wintermute's been quiet so far, relatively speaking. GSR, they are actually quite open to working with us, and I would say my impression, based on conversations with people here in Singapore and just in the industry at large, it seems like GSR has a very, very good reputation and is kind of industry leader. Wintermute, they're one of the big three. I'd say it's GSR, Wintermute, and probably
Jump was the other. I guess
Jump.
Jump is still around, but I think they took a big L on FTX.
Yeah. That would be the other big one. So GSR could be interesting too. No yield, pretty straightforward a deal. But the thing also with Skynet is they're a little more flexible. They're more of a boutique, so they're willing to do a smaller market making loan compared to someone like GSR, who I think I have to get final numbers from them, but it's probably going to come in around 800K, somewhere around there, closer to $1 million. Whereas, like I said, Skynet, they contracted with us for like 2 separate loans of I think 150K each, just enough to do something on one or two markets. Whereas with GSR or these other ones, they're going to go to scale and make sure that Ghost has got decent liquidity across, you know, a lot more than one or two. So it's really how many exchanges do we want to support, and we're listed in a lot of places, but there's just no liquidity there, so it's kind of useless. All right, Dan just dropped the link. Yep, that's where the conversation's
This
happening.
is for Ghost staking.
Oh, staking.
For
Okay.
the other one, let me drop it here.
Yeah. So yeah, follow this thread that Dan's about to drop, because I'll definitely be posting some updates in the days ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Those are the two threads there. And yeah, I guess we'll touch on both of those next week then. Make sure I get that on the agenda.
Yeah, just in the last few minutes, there was the borrow limit for Gotchi lending. I did bring that up because of the kind of the success of Gotchi Battler, and just wanted to get a temperature check. Seems like in general, we're pretty happy with having the limit in. So on our side, on my side, I'm not planning to make a proposal at this point, and we'll just continue to monitor lending activity, and also like the humbles market.
Mm-hmm.
Land parcel rentals coming soon, TM, once we get done with wearables. That's the
Nice.
next thing on the list from Orium.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we have a couple minutes left here. I know Thrax has been working on something pretty cool as well. So I'd like to give you last couple minutes of the call here to give a Aavegotchis update.
Yo, yes. Okay, so check this out. First of all, I'll just share this tweet again because it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
These are the two mechs that we've got currently done in game. The big guy is Mecha Mage, and the little guy is Bushido. But they're like, you know, like Cody. It's like BU5H.
No, no.
1D0, you know what I mean? But like, I wanted to give you guys an update on how the deving stuff is going in the background, because we're building super quietly, so just, you know, nobody knows what's going on. So the map is pretty much built. It's this dope night city. So far, like, there's a little bit of work that needs to be done in terms of like destructibility. Like, it's possible to get stuck on lights and stuff, but it looks amazing. And what's awesome is there are these like billboards in the city. So I got the idea of like making those ad space essentially. So if people want to advertise, you know, their bounce gate or their game or whatever, they can spend ALK to do that. That's the goal. So that's the city. The UI is pretty much built here. I can share some. Let me see if I can show you guys the mechs. I will share them in chat.
Look at that.
Multiplayer
nice.
is. Oh, yeah, loaded fast. Wow.
Dang, dude, these mechs are looking dope.
Is that using one of the Blockade Labs like backgrounds? Looks dope.
Yes, it's Blockade
Yeah.
Skybox.
Nice. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I use a lot of AI tools to boost my workflow, so to speak. And like I'm trying to figure out how I can. Oh, thank you so much, Sodi. We've got the like lobbies done and the multiplayer is synced. So like we've had a game already where we've fought each other. I gave so much feedback. The devs are not happy with me, but it's gonna be so good, guys. Like, long story short, the damage systems work. So you can shoot individual limbs, and if you shoot a leg and it gets fully destroyed, you get your walk speed gets cut to half. If you shoot both legs, you can no longer walk. If you shoot like one arm, that arm's weaponry stops working. And that's like step one. And step two is going to be to like enable team play, so that there's like a team of mechanics on the mech that can play mini games essentially to like repair parts and fix the limbs that are damaged. So it becomes like a much more like a larger experience. Hardcore is gonna be my like main tester, man. This guy's like salivating at the doors, just like when mech. I cannot wait. Like he's in my DMs already, like paragraphs and paragraphs of how we can, like use gotchi traits and stuff. That's one of my biggest like pain points. Really, is like I'm trying to make a really dope way to use gotchi traits as like Gotchi Battler was a great inspiration actually. The way that I'm thinking of it right now is that overall BRS will adjust your mech's like power, and you would have like the 5 traits would be like your strongest trait would determine your special. So there's going to be 5 specials. One is proposed to be a nuke. One is proposed to be like this giant plasma sword, and you get like faster. And then one is proposed to be ultimate, like no boost, no limit boost, so you're basically able to fly. I need help with a couple though, so if you guys want to, help build this thing, jump in the server. Let me go grab a link.
Yeah, that's one thing you did mention is this game that you're working on is kind of intended to be a co-creative sort of experience. So community feedback will play a decent part in the game development side of things.
Yeah, man, like everything we're doing here is like, I want the community involved. The more you're involved, the more it will be. Yes, you can still fly if you don't have your feet. I made sure of that. So if you have the special and your legs are wrecked, you can still fly around and shred people.
Yeah, that's dope.
But yeah, Hefe, what I'm saying, man, like the more the community is involved in making this thing, the more the community is gonna enjoy playing it.
Yes.
And as to like more community features, one of the goals in not this version of the game, like we don't have the budget. Like we were really, really conservative because we're using this as kind of like tryouts to show you guys what we can do. And the next one is supposed to have like a whole slew of features, one of which is a map builder, so that you can make your own like arena basically using Gotchified looking assets. And then you can charge people, basically Alchemica, to play these games, and then you would earn that. And the more people that play, the more you would make, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to suggestions all the time. Alch is just like currently my goal is to use as much Alchemica and Alloy as possible in the game. I'm not trying to use Ghost because everyone else is planning on using Ghost. So I'm hoping that Alch is a better alternative for me.
Yeah, we need some Alchemica syncs, and I think I know this is going to be a good one for that.
And Alloy too, man. I'm like, people are going to be building mech parts. People are going to be building maps. These all cost. So like, it's all meant to boost the prices of all of these assets for Gotchi Gang. I also really want to try and incorporate like wearables in some kind of way, but I'm trying to figure out how to do that. You're in a mech at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And as of now, the cockpit is like you're stuck in first-person view, like you can't see any Gotchi type thing. But once the VRMs and Gotchis are done, the goal is to be a VR cockpit. Like you can walk around in the cockpit essentially, if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the progression. I know you showed off some of the mechs there. They're looking pretty dope. The Bushido one's probably my favorite so far.
Nice. I think also like that's another big thing is that I want to include like people's designs. So if there are people in the community that want to design a mech, we could have competition type things where people design like mechs concept art kind of thing, and the winner can go through the process of actually creating a 3D model.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Or having kind of like a fake Gotchi style setup where you have some kind of core or some sort of like token that allows you to actually create, like submit a mech for like being part of the game. They got to burn the token or something. So you can
Mhm.
control how many mechs are. I guess you could control them anyway, but it would be interesting to see how that mechanic works.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that like there's going to be as much on-chain asset as possible in terms of like, for example, if you're upgrading your mech, those upgrades will be NFTs so that you can then trade them on our bazaar and stuff. So the goal is to make as much of the NFT, the game blockchain enabled as possible. But I also don't want to like have to create assets for like default stuff. You know what I mean? I kind of
Yeah.
want just the upgrades to be like the cool, difficult to get stuff should be NFTs. I don't think the basic mech needs to be one. Maybe just like the whole body, like the whole thing put together, but not like, you know, ARM V2 and upgraded armor legs and stuff. That doesn't make sense. Or non-upgraded armor legs.
Yeah. To not make it overly complicated in that sense.
Yeah, because then it's just too many NFTs. Like you're starting off the game with a pack of NFTs that are essentially not worth anything because you're just minting them. Like it's the value of the mint. So no one's gonna. It doesn't make sense that they would be. Do you guys think they'd be worth more than free essentially later? I don't
Well,
know how that would
based
work.
on like, I mean, if there's Alchemica potentiality to like earn Alchemica through gameplay, then and certain parts or mechs will help you obtain more of that Alchemica, you know, just by being better. I feel like there'd be some value accrued over time.
Okay, I'll reevaluate that. Maybe I will make everything an NFT.
Well, I mean, you think about the CryptoPunks, right? Were minted for free. I mean, they have no utility or anything whatsoever, but just the idea of minting something for free does not equate to not having value, in my opinion.
That's true. Fair enough. There's a lot of free mints that actually ended up becoming worth a lot, but those were kind of like they're free mints, but they're limited quantity. So maybe that's what we do is like there's a limited quantity per season of players. Because I need to limit, like, I have a limited server size anyway. I'm a small potatoes guy right now, so maybe that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the champions approach with the arena where you have some basic playable ones that are maybe not NFTs, they're just part of the core gameplay. But then you also have like some OP ones that are NFTs that are kind of like not custom mechs, but you know what I mean, NFT mechs, a little bit more OP that people could either mint certain events where there's scarcity, or they could buy them, and that would maybe generate some revenue for your game as well.
Well, right off the bat, like Gotchi's holders, the original fake Gotchi, will be able to claim a gold skin for either of the mechs, either Bushido or Mecha Mage.
Okay, there's some alpha there. So if there's any on the bazaar or in the auction, you better go get one right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure there are actually. I mean, there might be one, but they're
scarce,
it's one
man.
of the honestly the high. Yeah, it's like there's 5 of them, and it's the high. I have one, and I'm not letting go.
Yes.
And the only one that I've seen sold was like hundreds of ghosts. Like it's got a good resale value. I like it a lot. I'm very proud of that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing the alpha here today on Aavegotchis. And friends, if you want to get in on the Aavegotchis development, all you got to do is drop into that thread and provide your feedback. But yeah, I'm pumped on this. This is going to be pretty cool. Reminds me of like the Unreal Tournament days. So I'm hoping it's going to be an awesome experience.
Thanks, man. Appreciate letting me talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Please jump into the server, guys. Like the more people that are in there, the more people that are talking, the better. Like there's 2 people in there. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, drop that server link one more time and definitely jump in there. It's another game that's being developed on our protocol, and so yeah, any feedback contributes to development there.
Also, just in general, like I want to put like the community members that help and contribute, whether ideas or whatever, the most in the credits. So if that's something that you want, jump in.
Hey, it's some clout, right? It's good.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to stay there forever. So hardcore is going to be there. Let's put it that way.
100%. Yeah. All right, awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And with that being said, I have one little plug of my own here. Feel free to check it out on your own, guys. I have a YouTube channel I just started a couple months ago. It's called DAO Vision. It is just my thoughts on DAOs and sharing educational content there. So definitely go check that out if you'd like to be part of that journey. And if you have some really cool video ideas, DM me, let me know. I'm always happy to take y'all feedback because you guys are all big brains in here and understand Web3 really well. So any way we can create content for people just coming into this space or that are already in this space, love to have you be a part of that. So yeah, check that out. And with that being said, I think we can wrap up this call. We went 11 minutes over, but there was some really good alpha here at the end with the Aavegotchis. So appreciate y'all for coming out here. 46 people still in the audience, chilling. And if we don't see you for the rest of the weekend, maybe go check out some of these games. Check out Nifty Island. Otherwise, I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you have a good week. And we'll see you here again next week at 2 p.m. UTC. Later, friends.
Take it easy, friends. Also, later tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, the High Seas Pirates are doing a poker night with a couple of Polygon communities. I'm going to be playing. I do it every week. So if you guys want to come by, it's free, and they're going to be having prizes if you can win the poker tournament. So I'll post about it later on my X account, so check it out.
Hey, No Future, I was going to ask you about that actually really quick, if you want to do some overtime here.
Yeah.
So you said it's free. So like when you join these various poker matches I see you post about, is that kind of how it usually goes? Like nobody's putting up actual, it's the platform itself is not taking like funds. You're not using crypto or swiping a credit card, right? You just play and the winner gets a prize.
100% free. We've been using pokernow.club because it's really easy to spin up a game. Like we did that game night last week. T-Bird won the big game. He won the game. So yeah, that one is free. Although I had some people that I met in Art Basel who were trying to get me to pitch to the DAO a token gated poker game. I told them that, you know, you guys are already building one. So like they're still talking to me. I've been putting them in contact with other Polygon communities like the Nines, who host a weekly poker tournament on Sundays at I think noon EST. So yeah, it's non-token gated. There's no buy-in, which you know some people don't like because it affects the way when you play free poker. People play a little bit more degenerately. So yeah, that is a thing. But yeah, free to play.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we're getting a lot of progress on the poker side. We'll have some alpha to share and leak very soon. We kind of hit a snag towards the end of the year there where we realized like because we wanted to go pretty deep, like use real crypto, you know, at the tables and use your Alchemica, use your Ghost, use whatever you want. But then we realized like this is going to get really risky for certain jurisdictions. It just turns out Singapore is one of the strictest jurisdictions in the world, and Pixelcraft happens to be based there. So yeah, we had to get creative, and I think we're going to come away with an experience that's actually better. So yeah, but I was talking to Hefe last week about, or Hefe, sorry, Goobs, about his Gotchi Mafia poker nights, and then I wanted to talk to you too and just get your input on like, you know, what's going on these platforms you play on and what's the expectation financially. So I think we took our lawyer's advice to heart, which he said make it as much like an arcade as you can. You know, you can pay something, you can go have a good time, but at the end you come out with a teddy bear. You don't come out with cash. so we're trying to do that.
Yeah, if you once you
Anyway,
guys get that up, let me know because I can definitely pitch it. Because a lot of the Polygon communities, the NFT communities, we're starting to like form like regular poker nights for fun where we give away, you know, just like whatever NFTs we give away. But they're all basically looking for something cool that can be token gated without them having to manually check. Like the Nines uses pokerclub.now, but they actually you have to be a member of their Discord, and they check to make sure that you have the role. They're not doing it in a very efficient way. It's all manual. So if you come up with anything like that, I guarantee you a lot of the poker degens on Polygon would be 100% down.
So yeah, I'm trying to understand why you'd want token gating, because don't you want as many people to play gotchi poker as possible? So I think we could add an element of token gating if that's like a killer feature. But right now you'll be able to play it's just like a better experience if you own an Aavegotchi, because your gotchi is going to be seated at the table, like, and it's going to look exactly like, have the wearables on and all of that. But yeah, what's the benefit of token gating? Why would we want to not let anyone without an Aavegotchi in, or send them to the lending protocol? Because right now I think they're just gonna, if you don't own an Aavegotchi, you can sit down and play, but you're just gonna like look like a raffle or a liquidator sitting there.
Yeah, for the nines, they tried to token gate it, because what ended up happening was they started announcing these tournaments, and they would get like a bunch of people that would come into play that weren't from the community, that just were like, hunting for different tournaments, trying to win the prizes, and then immediately dumping them. Where the community, like, I won one tournament. I actually posted a video because I got really lucky. I was playing like a degenerate, and I won. I'm holding those NFTs. I'm not going to sell them. So they're trying to make it so that the community is really the one that's enjoying the poker tournament that happens every week. For me, I mean, if it wasn't token gated, I wouldn't mind. I don't think that would matter. I'd rather have 300 people in a tournament and it gets really spicy than to just have like 20 people who have like the right NFT.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe we can have best of both worlds. I'll take another look at least some token. Like, we definitely want you to be able to spin up private rooms and that kind of thing. So, or maybe integrate it where you can host it in your lodge in the Gotchiverse. I like that idea today. So
yeah, it'd be fun. And also, FaZe, yes, I do. Whenever I lose in poker, the blinds automatically go up so that the game can end faster, so I can get back in. It's just, I'm selfish.
I see Soju's comment. Did someone design an entire deck of Gotchi playing cards? Oh,
Yeah, that needs to happen.
It's gonna be it's gonna be nice. You guys, you got to have good playing cards to go with the poker game, no doubt. So you'll probably be surprised at what the answer to that question is. All right, maybe more next week. We'll get that all caught up. Thanks so much, Future. That was some good alpha there.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, awesome. A lot of alpha here at the end of the call. And yeah, we'll follow up on some of these things next week. So with that being said, I guess we can wrap it up. See you guys next week.
Yep. Peace, everybody.
Peace out.